Welcome to Awareness to Action, where you'll discover how possibilities become reality with me, Joan Marlow. Join me and my amazing guests for powerful stories about those world-shifting aha moments. You know, the ones that catapult you into action and transform the way you walk through the world. Yes, you can live your life with purpose and passion. Maybe you aren't there yet, and that's okay. This show will take you behind the scenes and walk you through how other people just like you were called to transform their lives and the journey they embarked on to get there. The first step to taking life-changing action, or any action at all, is awareness. Maybe that's why you're here. Join the movement to create and live your purpose and passion while embracing your authenticity. Awareness to Action starts now. Good morning, and I'm Joan Marlow. And it's just interesting, as I got to listen to my little promo before the show actually got started, the words come back and they come back and they come back about this show being related to, or covering, I guess, the information about what pushes somebody to really find their passion and then take action for it. So today is the epitome of that storyline. And I'm so excited about today's show. And it's all going to be about the start of the world, the start of a new world in using a pencil. How a pencil changed a life in many, many lives. How a pencil impacted my guest as well as her family and thousands of other people. So stay tuned. So let me introduce to you Barbara Blalock, and she is the founder and executive director of an organization called Treasures for Teachers. So a little bit about Barbara. Born and raised in Northern California, and she made the move over to Phoenix, and we are tickled that she's here with us, so we get the take advantage of all the wonderful things that she offers in 2000. And again, as I said, she's the founder and the executive director of an organization called Treasures for Teachers, and that's a number 4. And it's a local nonprofit with 4,500 teacher members providing creative learning to about 135,000 students. Just think about that for a moment, the size and the breadth and the depth of what she does. T for T combines 2 of Barbara's passions. So not only do we have 1 to talk about, we've got 2. And so first is in the area of her soft spot in her heart is about early childhood education and development with a focus on infants, toddlers, and supervision. And that was how she started her career in that arena. But she's got a passion that runs even more deeply. Her second passion was related to something that she's held near and dear to herself since childhood, and that is the environment. And she has figured out how to live both of her passions in this organization. She started T for T in 2014, and she calls it a labor of love. And that was meant to be, and it continues to grow and make a difference in many lives. And as it serves now as also a reusable resource center. So we typically start the shows by talking about some operational definitions, but I think we're going to pick those up later on. So what I'd love to do is welcome Barbara Blalock to my show. And also let's talk about, so when I met Barbara, when I actually visited her facility, which, oh my goodness, we'll talk about that. She came around the corner to meet me and she had a pencil, and that was her greeting, is this pencil. So Barbara, welcome to the show. And let's talk about how a pencil just completely changed your life.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Joan. I'm really excited to be on the show today.
Thank you.
You are right. Both of my passions are early childhood and recycling and being aware of our environment. I was volunteering in a classroom, second grade classroom, and the teacher asked the students to get out a piece of paper and a pencil. And I watched as a little girl, her name was Sandy, I'll never forget it, walked up to the teacher and handed her her shoe. The teacher smiled back at her.
Say that again. Handed her what?
Her shoe. Yes, one shoe, right? So she handed her one shoe, and in exchange for that shoe, Sandy got a pencil. If Sandy didn't give up her shoe for the pencil, she wouldn't have been able to do the activity, right? So I was stunned. I really quite didn't understand why that interaction happened. And so after class, I asked the teacher, I said, why did Sandy have to give up her shoe for a pencil? And the teacher simply said, I don't have enough pencils. And if I don't get it back, I won't be able to use it for my other classes. And I know that Sandy will not leave without her shoe. And that is literally the minute I knew that I needed to do something. And I'll tell you that one of the things I did that instant is I left and bought all the pencils in Walmart that I could find, and I brought them back to that teacher. And I said, if you get to that point again, please let me know. I will bring you pencils. I really don't believe that a child should use their shoe as collateral to get a pencil. So I'm on a mission to make sure teachers have pencils and paper and anything else they need to be successful in the classroom with their students.
Yeah. And again, that's just a profound story. And of course, all of these are pulling my heartstring, being a former classroom teacher and looking at all the things that are involved in making that happen. Watching what happened with our teachers last year as they selflessly took on the pandemic and figured out ways to educate our children. And then we look at when they are in the class, and again, how many of them spoke about the things that they were buying, and they were bringing up packages to the kids and whatever else. And there was one thing, a statistic that I saw, I think somewhere on your website. On average, teachers in America spend between $500 and $1,000 each year from their own pocket in school supplies for their students. And again, in some classrooms, they're even spending more based upon what level the education is. If you're looking at the higher levels of science and whatever else, what these teachers are doing. So teachers do work tirelessly. So Barbara's organization is certainly there to support them. And her organization certainly has more than just pencils. Trust me, I walked in there and it was an array of where do I look first? There is everything you'd possibly imagine in there. So let's talk a little bit about, a little bit deeper, if you have more to say about the mission of T for T.
So our mission is really two-pronged. So we provide free and low-cost supplies to teachers from the community's reusable resources. So what that means is that we have the community giving us their items that they no longer need, no longer want, even all the way to toilet paper rolls and paper towel rolls, because when teachers do an activity in the classroom, they don't just need one or two, they need enough for every student. Otherwise, they have to depend on those students to bring the paper towel roll or toilet paper roll. So just getting those teachers free and low cost supplies, and then with the community bringing us anything that they can. We have a great community, car after car after car, and truckload after truckload after truckload of all kinds of things, from furniture to binders. Like you said, there's just so many different things that are here. And we never really say no when somebody asks us, do you think you can use this? And we always say, let's give it a try. If the teachers don't take it, then we'll figure out another way to make use of it.
Mm-hmm.
And 90% of the time, the teachers take it for something that we may have never even thought, because they share a lot of the things that they do with the items that they get from us.
Mm-hmm. So one of the things that was so amazing is that most of, or I don't even know if it's 100% or very, very many of her employees, both her volunteers and her paid staff, are former teachers. They're retired teachers. Many of them that I spoke with the day I was there were early education. They were the elementary school teachers. Their creativity is still spinning, 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 spinning. And I'm sure that's why they are still there, that they are meeting their purpose and passion to be able to give back. So in reusing things, and the creativity was just amazing. So they actually helped teachers come up with ideas about what to do with the rolls of the toilet paper, or what to do with wine corks, or what to do with, there were things that you saw, barrels of stuff. And I said, what the devil do we do with that? And what they have is they actually have information, sort of like helping teachers with like lesson plans. This is now what you can do with that. And so we're helping teachers be as creative as they possibly can be. So Barbara, do you happen to have one of your little individual whiteboards with
I
you?
do.
Oh, I
So
loved it.
So the first thing I wanted to do was show you that they come in like this, and rarely do we use these anymore. The CDs are not of use because the teachers are primarily streaming most things, right? And so we take every piece of this DVD case and make use of it for the teachers. So the first thing we would do is we would take it and we would turn it around, and there's white paper. I have another one. So we just turn the cover around so we don't cut out any paper or do anything else. And then it comes out to be white. And you can use this as a dry erase board. And what the teachers do is they'll get one for every one of their students. And after they're done with the lesson, they get to use it. They get to write on it and erase it, and they can talk to their friends with it. And then inside, you can put a marker and a tissue or whatever you want. And that takes care of all of it. And it just wipes right off. But that's not all.
And there's more.
We have millions of these, literally millions, and it's just a CD that nobody wants to listen to or use anymore. And I've seen teachers use them as hall passes, but I've also seen them use them as fins for a fish. I've seen them use them in science lessons because some are rainbows and some are not, and what is the difference and why. So there's lots of lessons that can be learned out of a CD. So if you're looking in your house and you think, oh my gosh, now I know what to do with all these CDs, simply turn around the cover and now you have a mini dry erase board.
That's pretty remarkable. And again, how many of us have CDs and DVDs that are sitting around our house right now? So now we have a place that we can do something with them and they will go to good use. And that's vitally important, vitally important for us to do. Again, not only to serve the needs of students and teachers right now, but to also help with the environment. So we've talked a little bit and we're getting ready to go to a break in a few minutes. So let's talk just real quickly. What do you think the highest impact on teachers is when they come? And we're going to talk, when we come back from break, we'll talk about your membership program and how it actually works. So what's the attraction factor for teachers to come to you?
Knowing that they have the supplies and materials to give to their students. If students don't go to school because they don't have the supplies, their self-esteem suffers, their attendance suffers, everything else. So when they come here, they're coming not for themselves, but for their students. And they know exactly what they're buying something for, getting something for, which student even, as close as that is. So yeah, it's just really remarkable, and you will just see them. I know you saw them here, just going out with carts and carts of supplies.
It's amazing, pretty amazing. So, and again, we'll tell you more. And if you want to take a peek at Barbara's website, there's a video on there, there's a YouTube video that's built into the website that can actually take you on a tour of her warehouse, her shopping district. I don't know what we want to call it. The space where people can shop and gather these ideas, and the immaculateness of and the organization is just supreme. So please take a moment and take a look at that. And the website address is no, it's not transformation. Too many T's here. Treasures with an S with a number 4, teachers with an S again.org. So let's go to break and then we'll come back and talk about how teachers are helped by you. Well, welcome back. And I'm Joan Marlow. My guest today is Barbara Blalock, and she is talking about her passion became a reality all because of a pencil. So as we move on with this conversation, it's all about providing low cost and possibly even no cost elements and items for teachers so that they can teach your kids and our future. So this is very important. And one of the things she just mentioned was the fact that when a child comes to school and they don't have what they need, it's impacting their self-esteem, etc. So that's why the teachers, again, try to have all these extra things for them. So it's many different sides to this story. So the program is a membership program. Can you describe a little bit about how your membership program works for your teachers?
Absolutely. When I started the organization, I never wanted to not be able to afford it, right? I didn't want a grant not to go through, and then because that grant didn't go through, now we can't do the services that we wanted to do. And that really, even during the pandemic, because of the membership, we really managed to get through the pandemic quite well. The membership is $35 a year. The teachers can come as often as they want, take out as much materials or as little materials as they want. We have a free section. So if they just needed stuff from our free section, things like binders, cardboard tubes, file trays, if they just needed those, they could come in and get it. But one of the things that is really important is that we would never, ever turn a teacher away for the inability to pay for their membership. And how we do that is we get sponsors to cover the membership in addition to our thrift store. And I know you're going to talk about that. So we say it's $3 a month. It's worth it. All of the wonderful donations we get from an organization called the Kids in Need Foundation, brand new school supplies from Joann's. We just had a truck drop off from Dixon, Ticonderoga. And if any teachers are listening, they know Dixon, Ticonderoga.
Back to the pencils.
Yep. Just in the first time that they come through, they will get their $35 back. That's something that helps sustain us. It, of course, does not cover our whole operating costs. We do grants and recycling and a lot of other things to be able to cover that operations. But we do charge the $35. And again, we have 4,500 teachers, so some of them are willing to invest.
And then when they come in to actually explain a little bit about how, because what I also want to share with you, and you'll see more, I think, when you go to the website, this is not a little storefront. I was blown away at the magnitude of this building. How many square feet do you have?
So we have 20,000 square feet, and we need more. We are totally outgrown it. It's great. We're only outgrowing it because of the community and because of the enormous donations we get. A little bit because of the pandemic as well. Many companies are closing their companies and everybody's working from home. So then they're left with staplers and tape dispensers and file folders and all of these things that they had in their offices that they no longer need. And so they give them to us, and then we're able to pass those on to the teachers.
It's quite the organization and the dreams and the plans for this. So when I walked into this building, I walked into a thrift store first. So as she's talking about trucks coming in and people giving donations, people are not only giving monetary donations, but people are giving donations of furniture, clothing, anything you would find in a thrift store, they also have available. So that's another stream of revenue for them, as well as helping people, slim down their worlds and release, things that they no longer need because someone else is going to be able to use them. So there's also a thrift store there, and you can have fun with that too. And she's got trucks outside and bins outside, and there's just so much. And like she said, they're outgrowing their space, and it's because of the wonderful ways that organizations move forward. So who are some of your corporate partners, your community partners?
Well, there's so many, I can't list them all, but I will give you a handful of the most important, that even the reason we're here today. Intel is absolutely the reason we're here today. When I started my journey, I went to Intel and I said, hey, I just need some binders and file folders. And they said, let's go. And they took me on to their supply closet and they let me take whatever I needed. And that turned out to be a relationship where every quarter I would go and get supplies. This is way back in the beginning. So I had a little Honda CRV and I would just load it up. And that started growing, and then they started funding us financially. And then the next thing was we had a volunteer board member. So then we had a board representative from Intel on our board of directors that turned out to be our chairman of our board. So yeah, Intel is definitely one. SRP, they're our electronic company here. SRP, they actually train their employees to be board members. So they give us really somebody that's just come through board training, understands what it means to be a board member, and when they come, they're ready. APS, Wells Fargo, University of Phoenix, IKEA, there's just a huge number of them. Not to mention all the individuals. Can't forget them because they're just as important to me. Individuals just bringing, coming in their car and dropping off.
And she actually offers a truck pickup if you've got a certain amount of whatever it is you need to release from your life and share with somebody else. So they have it all going on. And so we look at that collaboration, and that was very, and so when she mentioned SRP and APS, for those of you outside of the Phoenix area, those are our electric supply companies. So those are electrical companies that supply us our power. So that's who they are. And of course, you all know who Intel is and IKEA is, and so on and so forth. So um, let's talk about, again, the impact on the environment. The efforts that you are doing, how is that truly impacting the environment?
Well, I think everything that we can do that doesn't go into the landfill is impacting the environment in a positive way. And what's great about it is the teachers also understand they're coming to what we call a creative reuse center. So they don't always expect brand new stuff, but it might be gently used. And they then take that back to their classroom, and the students learn about recycling and reusing. So it just goes much farther and much deeper than we can imagine, because when a teacher does come back and they say, I have a file folder, I have pencils, I have things that might have ended up in the landfill, they learn too. So hopefully they'll have that love of recycling to make a difference. Of course, we can't, impact the whole state or country, but we can start somewhere, and this is where we're starting.
Well, it's a wonderful start. And you also have reaches to Tucson. So there are pieces and parts of who Treasures for Teachers is in the state of Arizona, but the model that she's created is pretty amazing. And again, for anybody out there who's listening right now, just keep it in the back of your mind. If you, again, the whole thing about something as simple as the story about the pencil and the student, et cetera, and how it hits your heart and how you decide to move forward and do something with it. So, and Barbara's also, her beginning of her story, as I'm remembering it, they started this in their house.
Yes.
So in the garage,
In the garage.
and again, now have grown to this massive warehouse, and they need more space. And there's even space as far as that's like the undeveloped areas of that warehouse that still need looking at, and redeveloping that thrift store area, et cetera. So again, when you have a dream and you're grabbed by this passion, by all means, you can certainly move forward on that. So she had all 5 A's that hit her immediately. Her awareness, she took action. Certainly, it was so much of this story that hit her as far as the acceptance and just moving forward. And Barbara is who she's appearing to be. She's about as authentic as they come. And she also has the support of an amazing family.
Yes.
Who provided her the support to make this happen. So let's talk about some of the challenges that you had along the way, which were other people would have stopped in their tracks right then and there, but you kept plowing.
Yeah. So yes, you mentioned it, my family. I couldn't have done this without my family or my husband. My girls, I can't remember how old they were back at that time, but I had 3 girls. They were all engaged. They helped volunteer. They helped stock shelves. They helped go on pickups with me. We came to the point in our life where this was my passion. My husband saw it. We sold our house. We put the money into our account, the equity, and moved into a rental home. So that was the first sacrifice that we took to get this off the ground. And then when my husband said, hey, Barb, the garage is overflowing, we need to do something, we were able to find a portable unit on a school campus to start to move into. And then from there, we went to a church. And then we ended up in a warehouse where that was in 2008, I believe, when the economy was really hurting. We shared some space with a tile company. And the weight of a monsoon storm crashed the building, the roof of the building. It just came crashing in. We were in the building during that time. Fortunately, we got out safely. Earlier that day, I had people in wheelchairs and walkers because they were volunteering. So thank goodness that they were not in the building at the time. And I thought, okay, this is it. I'm done. And the community and volunteers and individuals said, no, you're not. We're going to find you a place and we're going to help you clean it up. And it just started pouring in. I think for about a little over a week, I was in the news, every news station you could think of, because everybody wanted to help. And so they did, and we did move to a new place, but we quickly outgrew that. And we're now in the space that we're in today.
Just take a deep breath on that story. And the fact that she's smiling as she's telling this story, and again, the accomplishments that Barbara has offered with her fortitude and the support and the strength and the collaboration and whatever of community and of family and everything that gets brought into the picture, and that do or die situation. We're going, and again, the gratitude to say, thank the Lord, nobody was hurt in that possibility of a real disaster, definitely. So how about successes? We talked about the catastrophe, and again, you came out of that. What was I guess the most enlightened success that you experienced, or the biggest pat on the back or accolade or gratitude that you get, or is it on a day-to-day basis?
Absolutely, on a day-to-day basis. I know I'm making a difference. My love for children was really hard to leave the classroom and to stop working with them. So when I sit in my office and I'm sad because perhaps I don't have any children around me and I'm not teaching them, I have to look out there and I have to say, well, that teacher right there is impacting 30 students. So I am making a difference. So that is something that I think about often. It was really hard. There hasn't been anybody before me, right, doing this work. And so I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have anybody to give me advice. You know, I had to depend on the board of directors, and it was really challenging. But what happened is I got nominated to do a fast pitch event here in Arizona. What that is you learn your elevator speech for 3 minutes. It's just like American Idol. You go up and you do your speech. The judges give you feedback, and then you go back and you try to perfect it. When the night came for us to do our event, and I went out and I did my 3-minute elevator speech, a gentleman came up to me afterwards and said, I want to give you $30,000 and help you with your dream. At the time, my dream was to have a mobile unit, which we do have now. We have a mobile unit to go out to the schools to take supplies directly to students if the teachers aren't able to come here. But then on top of that, I also won the People's Choice Award. So no matter what award I won, the People's Choice, they chose me, right? They chose Treasures for Teachers. And now I have an elevator speech to be able to use whenever and wherever I go. Sure, I change it up here and there, but it gave me the confidence also to be able to go out and talk about Treasures for Teachers. Because in the beginning, you know, I didn't go to school for this. I went to school to work with young children. So it has really helped. I think that is one of the biggest things I'm proud of, is the fast pitch.
Wow. Wow. That's a lot. That's amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's time for us to go on another break. When we come back, we're then going to look at, you know, how you can help, and also what's ahead for Treasures for Teachers. Thank you. Welcome back to Awareness to Action, where my guest today, Barbara Blalock with Treasures for Teachers, has been sharing some pretty astounding stories about how strong the passion can be and how it runs deeply, and how you actually make your dreams come true. And that's pretty amazing. So let's take an aside for a minute and let's talk about you know, your thought in the beginning of this was this is going to be a mobile unit, and now all of a sudden you've got what you've got. When did you decide to go and when did you decide to become a nonprofit?
So we were a nonprofit from the very beginning,
Okay.
And it took time to do the paperwork and get everything in place. So once we got that in place, we were off and running.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Oh, that's good. So it's feasible and possible for somebody who has this strong sense about being in passion and their purpose in life. And so it's almost like, well, if I did it, you can do it. So And what are some of the things, what are some of the attributes or traits or foci, I guess, that people need to have in place when they think about something, whether it be for, animals, or whether it be for the homeless, or whether it be, what are some of the things that you would recommend people, push forward to and maybe actually seek information for to
Yeah.
help them, assistance?
Passion. You have to have passion. If you don't have passion for what you're doing, no matter what it is, you're just going to struggle. People won't see any, if you don't have passion, of course they don't see it, and then they think that you're doing it for different reasons. So I always say passion, and I always say this isn't easy. It's not easy to start out. It's hard to know always what to do when, especially when there's a situation that you've never had to deal with before. But if you have that passion and you want to make that change, getting your nonprofit status is not as hard as it sounds. It's really pretty simple. Most people do it themselves. They don't even need to hire a lawyer. I would recommend that perhaps you have a lawyer look at your paperwork. But yeah, Joan, I've had probably 20 phone calls from across the country wanting a Treasures for Teachers in their state or their community. And one of the things, and this is one of the reasons why they're not, is I'm very honest and I tell them my challenges that I've had, my successes, but this is hard work. It's hard work. I'm doing the same thing as some of my employees. If I need to sweep the floor, I sweep the floor. But it's rewarding, especially if that's your passion. It's just so rewarding to know that I'm coming in and I'm changing lives, one at a time, perhaps, but yeah, so it's not that difficult. People can surely do it. They just have to have the passion, the energy, and understand that it's hard work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, again, when you have a dream,
Mhm.
based, depending upon how strong that dream is, it can become a reality. But you've got to take that first step. You've got to take that first, and the first step is typically the hardest.
Yeah.
So let's spend a couple of minutes and talk about your passion that you've had since you were a child, and that is related to the environment, and also looking at your move towards, one of the things in the future for you is to earn Lean Six Sigma certification or qualifications, and or designation, I should say. And again, Barbara and I, the more and more she spoke with me that first day we met, our lives are like these parallel lives that we're walking, because I too have a background in total quality management and process control. And I so believe in it because I came from the world of ISO, and she's looking at Lean Six Sigma, which again is a process control and whatever. So tell us a little bit about that journey and making that move forward for you and what it's going to do for you.
Sure, sure. I want to talk a minute about the recycling. So when I was 5 years old, there was a contest about recycling, and they wanted us to draw a picture and make a little comment at the bottom of the picture. So the picture I drew was of a flag, and I said, "Let's make America clean," or something along that line.
Mhm.
And I won that. I won that, and I think perhaps that might have gone where my passion comes from as well. So I always think back to that picture. Um, there's so many advantages of not recycling. So really it goes to reuse. We talk more about reuse than we do recycling, because recycling is making something different out of the item that you have, and reuse is using something different for an item from its core, what it started out to be.
Mhm.
So the reuse component is really, really large and huge for me. As far as the Lean Six Sigma, at a board meeting, we talked about all the operations of Treasures for Teachers. And one of the things we're challenged with every single day is our space. We need more space. But what I think we really need, Joan, is just to be able to be more efficient. We need to process our donations more efficiently. We need to think about what we keep and what we don't keep, and what we put out for the teachers. And sometimes the comment, just in case, let's keep that just in case, let's keep this just in case. And before long, you have so much stuff just in case, and you'll never use it, right? So that's what we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on efficiency and space planning, making sure we're making the most use of our space. I think many times we've talked about how our space is one of our challenges. But through this process, I believe that we will find space that we didn't even know we had.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. You know, and as a sideline here, Barbara was introduced to me by one of my earlier guests, Andrea Brundage, who is the Chaos to Calm Queen. And so she's a member of Barbara's board. And that's how, and as Andrea and I were speaking, she says, I really think Barbara would be a great guest for you. So it ties all these pieces together. And Andrea also talked about the, just in case, or, oh, I might need that because, and then even in our personal lives,
Mm-hmm.
we end up with more stuff than we need. But for you, it's also looking at, but somebody was kind enough to also give this to us. And am I not being kind to now find a use for it? But sometimes something has to go because the building just doesn't have expandable walls anymore.
Right.
And so they've got ways. As I wandered through her building, I needed to drop breadcrumbs to figure out where I was going. And it's pretty amazing with what they have presently, but I think that's an excellent move. And as I said to Barbara, I said, pretty soon you're going to be seeing me as a volunteer. I'm going to be joining you on this journey in some way, shape, or form because of not only the teaching part, but also to help them maybe on this journey of Lean Six Sigma. So that might be something else we look at doing. So what else is in the plan for the going forward piece?
So going forward, we are really getting our mobile unit up and running again after the pandemic. We couldn't do that as well. So we are going to try to reach more locations and farther away from where we are. We do want to be in other states. We do have an affiliate program. That's what Tucson is under, and they're pretty much under their own umbrella, but they can use any of our information, me as a resource. And I'm hoping to have one in another state somewhere someday. So that's one of the things. We have a West Valley location, and we're actually sharing that with the school district. And I think that perhaps we will probably get our own building instead of sharing it. There's some things that have come up being on a school district campus, and maybe perhaps the other school districts don't know that they can come to us just because we're on their campus. So I will probably do that. Grow our board. Our board just went through a development transformation through, I think through Social Venture Partners. Yes. So yeah. So those are some of the things that I think we're going to be focusing on.
Oh, those are big enough things to keep you out of trouble for a while. And, but it's all about also, what kinds of things do you? Well, let's do it aside for a second. What do you do for self-care?
So yeah,
we didn't talk. This is a surprise question. She wasn't expecting this one.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm really good with self-care. My husband does try. Just going home and relaxing after being here all day. It's a long day and it's physical. There's a lot of physical work into it. So definitely need to be better with that, Joan.
Oh, did you notice the body language too?
And I think you're going to find that for most executive directors. It's one of the areas that we're really almost all of us, and if I could say all of us, are pretty weak at. And that's because we don't mind what we're doing. We love what we're doing, right? And it's like I don't look at the clock and go, oh, it's 4 o'clock. I got to go home now. I look at the clock and go, oh my gosh, I've got 3 more hours that I want to be here to do this or that. So yeah, it isn't my biggest strong point.
Okay, so maybe that's how I can help. Ooh, we hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, because again, you can't, and that's for any of us. We can't live our passion and our purpose unless we take care of ourselves.
Yeah.
When our cup is empty, we can't share. There's nothing left of us, and that's vitally important for all of us to recognize, no matter what it is we're doing, whether we're in a, our humdrum life at this point in time, or, whether we have this vitally crazy life that we're living our passion and we're just so excited every day to get to work. So that's something that everyone needs to somehow keep in the forefront of their mind. So that's important for us as well. So we're going to go to our last break and then come back and talk about a little bit about how our listeners can help, as well as Barbara's going to share a little bit about the psyche of a teacher and when their school year really starts. Here in Arizona, our school year is starting very, very soon, July/beginning of August. Other parts of the country, we are looking at, traditionally, I'm an East Coaster, so traditionally September-ish time, Labor Day-ish time. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Thank you. Well, welcome back. I'm Joan Marlow. My guest is Barbara Blalock, and her organization is Treasures for Teachers. And let's talk about what you need. How can we help? What do you need right now? And let's also look at a little bit about the teaching world and how the psyche of a teacher works, and what are teachers doing right now?
Yeah, so first of all, I think we just talked about on break about our volunteers. We need volunteers. We need them all day, every day, as many as we can have. Prior to the pandemic, we were seeing about 130 volunteers a week. Can you imagine how many hands that was? Well, after when we were in the pandemic and in the deep of it, we didn't have any volunteers. And then when they started to come back, they were coming back onesies and twosies. We're probably up to about 30 or 40 now a week. So hopefully we'll get up, near where we were before the pandemic. But yeah, volunteers, even for the teachers enjoy talking with the volunteers in the store and sharing what they're doing with supplies and items. So volunteers, absolutely. We even have volunteers that do virtual volunteering. They help us with certain projects and things like that. So there's all different ways. During the pandemic, a lot of volunteers came and picked up projects and took them home, did them at home and brought them back and dropped them off. So they never really had to come in the building or even get out of their car. That was even helpful. Companies like Intel would set up a conference room, and when people took their breaks or went to lunch, they would do a little bit of volunteering. And then when they were done, they would bring it back. So volunteering is great. Most people think that back to school is in August or September. Back to school for teachers is right now. Right now, they are getting the keys to their classrooms. They are needing to decorate their classrooms, get ready for their lessons. So they're in here all day, every day, as much as they can be, just to get what they need. Many companies want to do school supply drives, but they're waiting until August or September, thinking that's the time. It's now. Now is really the time that they should be doing school supply drives, donating items, getting us anything that we need. It's hard to think about that because we're right in the middle of summer and most people are thinking, oh, surely the teachers have 2 more months before they have to go back to school. But that's just not the case. And so I really want to resonate that with people. I know perhaps on the East Coast it's different, but our teachers will be back in the classroom at the end of July, beginning of August. And so I just want people to know that.
Yeah, and that's very true. And again, teachers are in their planning mode right now. So they're getting their creative juices flowing again from their summer break or their break that they've had away from the classroom. So they're getting themselves geared up. But I would like to circle around for one moment and talk again about volunteerism. So one of the things that has come out of the pandemic is that many, many people have transitioned into other lives. Some people have decided to change jobs. Some people have decided to retire. I know myself, I've got dozens of people in my life that are in that realm of saying enough is enough and I now want to go and do something else. So that you're the perfect person to become a volunteer. And don't think you have to have, a special talent or whatever, because as Barbara just said, there are things that anybody and everybody can do. All we need hands, We need brains to possibly think outside the box and make it happen. And we need you to be engaged and involved in some way, shape, or form. So anyone out there who is considering, or you've got some extra time on your hands, you can address your passion, or you can look at it a different way. But again, if you're volunteering in your passion area, that's even better. So keep that in mind as well. And again, there's the need. I often say the need is greater than any of us can possibly imagine. We think that someone else has it. Well, they don't. That someone needs to be us. And I think we need to think about that as well. So do you have, and this is one of the questions that you asked me, and I'm curious as far as what it is. What's a quote that you might have to share with us today? Something that keeps you keeping on. What motivates you?
Teaching is the one profession that teaches all others. None of us would be in our jobs if it wasn't for a teacher. None of us would know how to read, know how to do math, problem solve. We have to be impacted by a teacher in order for us to move forward. So we need to treat our teachers with respect and let them know that we're here, that we appreciate them, because without them, where would our economy be? Where would we be? Where would our country be? Right? So yeah, that resonates with me all the time. And it just makes me think, even, a 5-year-old little boy in a classroom, he needs a teacher. He's going to probably need many teachers until he decides what he wants to do in his profession. But he can't decide that until those teachers have made an impact in his life.
That is oh so true. That is oh so true. And again, the school system itself and the way it's been designed is to again help that development in some way, shape, or form, in a way that maybe your family can't do it. They can't be all things to all people. So how can people find you? Where would you want people to locate you? How can they follow you? Give us some Facebook information and website information.
Sure. So of course, our website is probably the first place they want to go. And you said it before, it's treasures with an S, the number 4, teachers with an S.org. And then if they go to our website, down at the very bottom is all of our social media handles and links. So they can just click right through. We have an amazing social media presence. I have somebody that's just amazing. She puts all kinds of ideas and content in our all of our pages. Our Facebook and Instagram are probably the most important or the most used. And then we are getting into TikTok a little bit. So we're starting with our thrift store, and then we'll transition over to our side. It's been quite fun to be able to do that. And otherwise, just think about us. And if you're ever in Arizona, come for a tour. I welcome you. I will be happy to give it to you, just so that you can see what it's like. And perhaps you might want to treasure for teachers in your state as well.
Yeah, that was going to be my subtle hint as well. Think about it. Think about things that you might want to get involved in. And again, those of us who have that desire to constantly be teaching and influencing other people, this is an excellent way to do outreach and to make a difference, truly make a difference. So Barbara, I can't say thank you enough. And I am very excited about who you are and what you are and all the things that Treasures for Teachers offers the world. And and the fact that it is here in Arizona is very, very exciting. And again, as I said, it's in Tempe, Arizona. But again, doesn't have to be one location. And please consider next time you're in Arizona, please go in and visit Barbara and have the aha moment that I had to see the magnitude of what's possible, all coming from the influence of a pencil. It's amazing. Thank you so much for being here, Barbara. It's been my honor. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining this Awareness to Action episode. Join me next time for more inspiring stories that will shift your perspective and allow you to see pathways toward a more fulfilling life. It doesn't come overnight, but with a positive outlook and a will to keep moving forward, you will get there, and it will be worth every twist and turn along the way. A willingness to learn from this experience is key.
If Plan A doesn't work, remember, you have plans B through Z to continue your journey. With each adjustment, you're one step closer to turning a possibility into a reality. For more information about me or to work with me personally, visit peacefullyhealing.com.